Welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I am your host, Dennis Batholkus, and this is iZombie, Season 5, Episode 13, All's Well That Ends Well. And that is the final episode. That is it. It's the end of the series, and I'm not too happy about it, quite honestly. But let's just get into it. Before I get into it here, let me actually take care of a little bit of business. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell. If you've already hit the bell, don't hit it again. It will unclick it. And you can go into the bell settings and get as many or as little notifications as you want. It's still a 50-50 opportunity that you're going to get a notification from me. Notification from YouTube, excuse me, that I'm on. If you want to see when I'm going to actually be on, you can go to my website, suspendedfanimation.com, and take a look at the schedule there. I also have it up on Facebook. I also have a Twitter account. I have an Instagram, and I also have a Patreon, but I don't have any tiers up as of yet. And also, if you put a comment in tonight's, in the video for this video, you have 1 week to put in a comment. That means that from today, which is the 1st, until the 7th, next Thursday, when I'm going to be doing The Boys is actually going to take over the spot. As long as you put in a comment, you get 1 entry per person. You can put in 20 comments, but you're still only going to get 1 entry. You're going to be in the running for this Comic-Con bag. This is the Comic-Con 50th anniversary bag, of course, direct from Comic-Con, and it's got the superhero girls on the back. That's what you got going on right there. So whoever I end up picking live on the air there is going to be the one that wins it. Then all I need someone to actually tell me what their address is when they win that, and then I can send that out to them. So with that said, spoiler alert, yes, I am going to spoil the shit out of this episode. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it, and then come on back, and this will be a video, and you can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the paddle. It's not over yet. Well, iZombie's over with, but I'm just getting started here. Is it worth a watch, Joe Greer? Have you watched the entire thing already? Have you watched all the seasons up to this? If you have, then yes, finish it up. So I wanted the apocalyptic end, not the happy ending. I always want the happy ending, Pen Farm Girl. I'm kidding. I was talking about something else. I think there could have been a happy middle ground on this, and I don't think that, quite honestly, I think he checked out, left, and wasn't coming back because he was all about the Lost Boys thing. I've been hearing a lot of news lately about the Lost Boys, and because basically that's what he's working on right now for the CW, the Lost Boys, based on the movie. He's doing a series for the CW. He tried doing it where all the genders were reversed so that it was an all-girl crew. CW said, fuck that. That was pretty horrible because they saw the pilot for it. Go back and make it like the movie is what they said. Hey, Mr. Roboto. So now he's depressed because all they want is like the movie. And that's what he's doing. He's having to reshoot this whole thing again in fall. Actually, he's having to resubmit scripts now. They're basically treating him like it's his first rodeo. And CW is doing this where they are making him submit all his scripts. And it's pretty bad. And he basically abandoned iZombie for this. For that, I should say. Yeah. Hey, Slurmy. All right, let's get into this, shall we? So, a Major is, of course, putting on clothes because last we left him, he was crawling out of the river and had been shot up pretty bad. And he sees Enzo on TV basically making his manifesto known to the humans that that his predecessor was doing the carrot and now he's doing the stick. And so anybody that is caught, any human that is caught killing zombies, they're going to be scratched, made into a zombie, starved, made into a Romero, and then basically used as one of the zombie army, I guess, and he is not digging it. In the meantime, Dolly and her dead enders are hunting down Fillmore Graves higher ups. They have a deck of cards and are hunting down. They find one guy who pops out of a warehouse there, and they kill him, and he's on the deck of cards. And Liv, Clive, and Ravi are flying back, and Liv's seatmate keeps saying, "I know you from someplace. Where do I know you from?" She goes, "Oh no, I get that all the time." And she's trying to, of course, diffuse this because they're flying back to Portland is where they're flying back to. And of course, she doesn't want to get recognized because zombies are not supposed to be out in the real world. They're supposed to be out just only in Seattle. Yeah, everyone saw the evil French guy coming, Mr. Roboto. That was no, the French are evil. We already know this. Yes, I know I'm going to get a whole bunch of hate mail and all that kind of stuff, but we know the French are evil. Just listen to their accent. That's all you need to. I kid. Not all French are bad. So Enzo ends up talking to the troops about how the dead enders are killing a lot of their guys. When Major calls in, and he calls Lieutenant Collins and says that he wants to come in, and she tells Enzo, and he wants to join the fight because after he's seen what's going on with all the dead enders. And Enzo's like, yeah, sure, he can come on back. We need as many people as we can for the fight. That's fine. Liv, Ravi, and Clive, in the meantime, they're all sitting in separate seats on the plane, and she is texting to Ravi and Clive of what's going on. In the meantime, Clive's seatmate, first of all, Clive finds out that Dale is in labor, which is a bit early. It's a couple weeks early. And in the meantime, his seatmate has taken some drugs to basically knock him out so he can sleep on the plane, and has left his bottle there. And so Clive says, I have an idea. And he grabs some of the pills, some of the powder, I guess you could say, gives it to Ravi. Liv is going to get her seatmate another mimosa because her seatmate is drinking mimosas, and gets 2 of them. And Ravi pours the potion into the mimosa, but the flight attendant says, oh, wait a minute. We got water spots on those glasses. We can't have that. She turns around, wipes off the water spots, and Liv can't tell which glass actually has the potion in it at this point. So she comes back and gives the fuller glass, which originally had the stuff in it, to her seatmate. Yeah. Major comes in to Fillmore Graves, but Enzo has different plans for him. He's basically going to starve him and turn him into a Romero zombie, and that's going to be his punishment for what he did. And Major is taken away to, by this guy with bandages all over his face, which we don't know what the hell happened to him at this point. Donnie shows up and gives Peyton, we're basically at Blaine's father's mansion, and that's where he's taking the Freilich kids and Peyton. And Donnie is actually, he gives Peyton a dress, very Indiana Jones-like, and tells her that she needs to get dressed. Here's a radio. When you're done, let us know, and you're going to go to dinner with him. And she is pissed off beyond all belief. And of course, once Donnie leaves, one of the Freilich kids, her nose starts bleeding. She's dying at this point. Dale has gone into labor, of course, early, and like I said, and Clive is worried he's not going to make it back in time. And we see the flight attendant has actually recognized Liv from an online interview with her as Renegade. So the plot kind of thickens here at this point. Major ends up getting frisked by this guy who has got bandages all over his face, who we find is named Ames. And Ames got burned by one of the dead enders that had a flamethrower. That's why he's got the bandages all over his face. And when he frisks Major, he finds out that Major's got something packing underneath his hoodie and tells him to take off his shirt, which he does. And Major has a whole bunch of knives taped to his body. And Ames has the gun trained on him when he gets shot in the head. And Collins has actually never defected from Major. she's actually helping him out and tells him, go back in, go grab the Max Rager, get the hell out, find a cure, is what she tells him. Major dresses up as Ames. He puts on the bandages over his face, goes into where the guards are guarding the Max Rager, kills them with the knives, takes as much Max Rager as he can carry at this point. In Portland, when they land, Liv, Clive, and Ravi are taken by the flight attendant. She tells them to come with us, come with me. And there's a cop that actually is boarded the plane as well. And they think that the jig is up at this point, that they're going to be arrested. When no, actually, the cop and the flight attendant are brother and sister. And Liv actually helped their younger sister get into Seattle and be cured, or actually get the zombie virus so that she won't die. So they're going to help her, and they're going to help them actually, and he's going to drive them up to the border of Washington there. In the meantime, Blaine tells Donnie something. Someone tossed a body into the well where his he kept his father out there, and he goes, and it smells pretty bad. Get some, here's some stuff that will get rid of that smell. He goes, you got to drop it in every couple hours. And I don't know who that was, or if it's actually a zombie in there. There's a lot of stuff that wasn't answered in this episode or this series at the end either. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of plot lines that just kind of got dropped. And they never got back to them because, of course, we need to hear more about the murderers of the week and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know where they're at with this. Anyway. So Peyton calls him in and tells him that one of the kids is dead, and the other kids are like, you can't have her body. And Peyton brains him with a piece of wood, has all the kids run. They get out to a van that's outside. They jump in the van, start it. Peyton's got a gun as well at this point, and she trades shots with one of Blaine's bad guys, one of his, I guess you could say, coyotes. And she gets shot in the shoulder. She shoots him in the shoulder. Then he shoots her in the chest after she shoots him. And that's it. She's got a pool of blood going, streaming out from underneath her. And the further kids take off. Yeah, thanks. And so, yeah, she's dead at this point. And Blaine is standing over her. And the further kids have taken off at this point. Enzo, in the meantime, knows that Lieutenant Collins was the one that actually did this. And kills her. She basically tells him to kiss my ass just before he pulls the trigger. Liv, Ravi, and Clive enter the safe house, and they can't find the kids. The milk's gone bad. It looks like they left in a hurry, all that kind of stuff. Clive can't wait any longer. He runs to the hospital to go and see Dale and his kid that's, of course, being born at this point. And some of the kids come back into the safe house. And Ravi wants to know, what the hell, where's Peyton at? Where is she? And they won't answer at first. And finally, one of them says she's dead. She got shot. And he's pissed. He just wants to go and kill Blaine at this point. And, Liv talks him down and goes, you know what? I'm going to go and kill him. I'm not going to spare them at all. And you go meet Major back at the lab and meet him with the Max Rager and make that cure. Everybody's counting on you. And so he takes off. And the Freilich kids actually have a good point. They're like, well, what's going to happen to us when the cure happens? Because it doesn't work on them. The zombie stuff doesn't work on them. Does the zombie cure work on their Freilich brains? It doesn't do anything. Basically, they're still screwed, essentially. That was one thing that wasn't really answered with any kind of clarity as to what happens to the Freilich kids. Because, yeah, they will just die, supposedly, but that's not the case. We'll get to that in just a minute here. So Clive runs into the hospital just in time to see the birth of his kid. Ravi makes it to the lab, and Major asks, where's Liv at? And he tells Major what happened to Peyton, and of course breaks down crying. And that Liv has actually gone over to Blaine's mansion, and that's where she's going to confront him. Blaine, in the meantime, is having dinner with a new zombified Peyton. And Peyton is pretty pissed off at this point. So she's eating some brains. It's actually the guy she killed. That's the brain that they're eating. And Blaine leaves Donnie alone with her for, because he's going to go out to the well to go take care of the stench that's been happening out there when she has her first vision. And her first vision, of course, is of Blaine smothering Donnie's fiance, who he told her she died of, her Fralick thing. So, yeah, and he smothered her with a pillow. And Donnie, of course, is pissed at this point. So Blaine is sitting at the edge of the well there, and he's talking down into the well like someone is down there that he knows, as he's dropping these pellets of chlorine, I guess, or something in there. And Donnie comes running up and pushes him into the well and is just screaming at him, you know what? We had a little bit of time together. You had to take it. You had to be a dick. You had to take her away from me, all this kind of stuff. And that's when Liv shows up with a rock. She throws it at Donnie, who's standing on the edge of the well, and he goes tumbling in. And she says, "Have fun together for all eternity with each other," and leaves it at that. And she's crying because she thinks Peyton's dead, when who shows up but Peyton, who has a literal ball and chain attached to her. That's the reason why she couldn't get there as fast. Yeah, Donnie was an idiot, but he didn't deserve that fate either. And I want to know who the hell else was down there, because they didn't really say who else was down there. Again, I think this might be something that was cut out of a previous episode or something. It didn't make it. But also, we don't know what happened to Stacy Boss either. If that was Stacy Boss down there or what was going on, because again, they didn't have enough time because they wasted their time on the previous episodes with all this stupid, murder of the week shit, instead of actually taking care of tying up loose ends. Again, it just kind of pisses me off. So Ravi and Major end up going to Johnny Frost, and they want him to take the cure live on the air. And he's like, "Well, what's that going to prove?" And they're like, "Well, we'll take a blood pressure test." He goes, "That can be faked." "Okay, we'll cut you." And he goes, "No, that can be faked." Basically everything they suggest, that can be faked. And he'll lose credibility and lose viewers, all that kind of stuff. So he doesn't want to do it. So who has a bad idea but Major? And he's called up Enzo to show up at the TV station. And Enzo shows up with some troops, of course. And Ravi tells Major it's a terrible idea, of course. Johnny Frost broadcasts that a cure has been found and will be distributed within a couple of weeks, when Enzo pulls him from the air, telling him that he can't tell people this, of course. And the Dead Enders actually arrive at the TV station because Major has called them as well. And they start a firefight outside. So there's a whole bunch of firefight going on between Dead Enders and Fillmore Graves people outside the TV station there. Enzo goes on TV and says anybody who has information about the whereabouts of Major will get a free ticket out of Seattle, essentially. When Major shows up and goes, "I'm right here, and I've got the cure." And he says, "Why would I spend millions of dollars on those few cures that are out there only to have you kill me?" So his whole plan is he's going to inject himself, and Enzo can shoot him. If he's a zombie, he will live. If he's human, he will die on TV. And so he injects himself. Enzo gets really pissed off, zombie out for some reason. We don't know why. Shoots Major. Major goes down to the ground. And Enzo stands over him and says, "Get up, zombie," and kicks him. And Major doesn't move. And we see Ravi come flying out from the sides there, screaming, jumps on top of Enzo, and they kind of roll around a little bit. Enzo ends up on top of him, starts punching Ravi. And Ravi's laughing and saying, "What happened?" He goes, "You've lost your power. You lost your zombie." He goes, "That's because you're human. I gave you the cure." And that's when Liv's coyote, whose boyfriend got killed by Enzo, shoots Enzo in the head, or shoots him in the chest, actually. and because of his boyfriend being killed. And he gets killed by some Fillmore Graves soldiers who end up shooting up the studio and killing all the power to the studio. And this has all been broadcast live on TV. So Clive has actually watched this while he's with Dale and their new kid. In the meantime, Liv is calling everybody, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. She finally gets through to Clive because her phone has been dead too. And he tells her that Major is dead. When actually Ravi had changed out the syringes, and he actually crawls over to Major and says, "Hey, you okay?" And Major has his eyes closed and goes, "What the hell did you do?" And he goes, "Oh, I gave you Max Rager." And the cure he gave to Enzo. Is what it was. He decided the plan was not good. So he switched that all out. So Major is, of course, alive at this point. In the meantime, Michelle comes into the lab because that was another plot, thread that was just kind of hanging. We don't know what the hell happened to Michelle, who was Clive's other impregnated girlfriend, I guess you could say. And she does not have a kid because her belly is flat. So she's obviously had the kid already. And she's in the lab looking for Clive. And she turns towards the door and says, "Excuse me, sir, what are you doing in here? I don't think you're supposed to be in here. We never see who it is." And a big explosion goes off and takes out the lab with her and Liv in it. We see, Michelle get thrown back. So then we go 10 years later. We go 10 years in the future. Then we're at San Francisco Police Department, and Dale and Clive are both captains there. And Clive puts on a virtual reality helmet because he's going to do a virtual cast, is what Dale says. And he ends up appearing in this white room with chairs, and Ravi's already there. And they're talking about Clive's kids. He's got 2 kids. And Peyton shows up. She's there as well. And this guy named Brian DeCisi shows up. He's the host of a reality television show, or a virtual reality television show. And he's doing interviews of all of them for the 10th anniversary of the Battle of Seattle, or the Battle for Seattle. Peyton is a DA in Atlanta. Ravi is with her still, but he's made book deals and all this kind of stuff. That's where he's made his money from. And Clive, of course, is working in San Francisco. Seattle was rebuilt, repopulated, and rebranded. And some people actually chose not to take the zombie cure. And after all of this had happened, brain donations actually started up again. So yeah, so all these brain donations started up again. There's a few people that are still zombies. People actually go and become zombies in order to stop any kind of terminal disease, that kind of thing. And they live separately from the rest of the world, I guess you could say, in whatever is new branded Seattle. We never hear what it is. We just heard that it happened. We also hear that Major was being hunted by the Dead Enders because out of their 52 decks of cards, they ended up killing almost everybody except for 12 people. There were 12 people that were still left alive. And so he disappeared a decade ago and went underground. And some say that he actually died. Others say that he, is still alive and hiding from the Dead Enders. Liv, in the meantime, was never found in the rubble and is presumed dead at this point. And that's what they say as well. That's what Liv, Ravi, and Peyton tell them. And also Dolly Durkins disappeared as well. So Dolly Durkins has left, and she's actually a myth, or a legend, as you can say. No one ever knows if she was actually somebody that was real or not at this point. Yeah. And yes, anyone infected could get the cure. Exactly. So anyone infected could get the cure at any time they want. So we see that Liv actually survived. She ends up coming back to the safe house, and because we see in flashbacks as they're doing this interview, and we see what happened to Major, that he's went with the kids, and as he's walking with the kids back to the safe house, he ends up getting shot at by the Dead Enders. He protects them. She comes back to the safe house. She's alive. No mention of Michelle whatsoever. whether or not she was killed or not, or if Liv saved her or what happened. We don't know. That wasn't talked about at all. So after the interview and Brian has taken off, Byron, Byron takes off and leaves. Who shows up but Major and Liv? And yeah, this whole thing is they've been keeping their secret. Ravi, Clive, and Peyton have been keeping their secret all this time. And they say, well, why don't you come out and join us? You know, we've got some room out on Zombie Island, and all you have to do is get scratched. And Peyton says, okay. And that's where we leave it off. I mean, with her saying okay, and they leave. And I'm like, okay, so what happened to Michelle? Blaine and Donnie, they kind of left that. I know they're down in the well. What happened to Liv's brother? I mean, we never heard about Liv's brother ever again after all of this. Stacy Boss, what happened to him? Was he the one that was down in the well that Blaine was talking to? Was it somebody else? What the hell? We have all these different plot threads that are just left dangling. And yeah, I don't know at this point. Not happy about it. Michelle died. That's why her son was raised by Clive. Oh, okay. There we go. So see, they didn't make that clear, Penn Farm Girl. See, I didn't realize that was actually Michelle's son, because I thought that was okay. He said it was his son. I thought it was his and Dale's son. And I thought it was okay. Now it makes sense. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, they kind of ran through that really, really quickly to the point where I'm like, so what the hell happened to her? So she was dead. Clive raised her son, and that was the reason why, excuse me, her ex-boyfriend or her cousin actually was trying to get custody of the kid, but was actually looking for money. Got it. It wasn't Michelle's baby daddy. It was her cousin that came back and was trying to get custody of the kid. I remember him saying that. That's the reason why it didn't make any sense as to why they didn't say Michelle's cousin. They just said a cousin, a cousin came back. It didn't make any sense. Yeah. Again, yeah, see, I'm glad we're here together to actually discuss this, because again, really bad fucking writing that was rushed fairly quickly when they had plenty of time. They had 13 episodes in order to hash this stuff out, and they didn't. Did the station get repair? We don't know, Mr. Roboto. So yeah. But yeah, not a great episode, not a great ending to the series. And again, you could tell that Rob Thomas completely checked out of this one and left, didn't talk about it. And yeah, I don't know what to tell you on that one. I'm not happy about the conclusion, Stanley. I'm really not. And oh, you've got me on mute. That's why it is, because you're still watching it, is what's going on. I got it. Yeah, exactly. The zombie threat is over. Yeah, you still have to watch it. Okay, I got it. Well, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. That's why Ravi told Peyton Clive needed a lawyer. Got it. Yeah. Man, like I said, they really didn't need to rush this. They could have planned this out a lot better. They could have tied up a lot of loose ends. I understand they were trying to hold out and hope for another season or a movie or something like that. Not going to happen, especially when you're not putting any attention to any of the details in the last season and you're treating it like shit because you want to remake an old 80s movie. I love The Lost Boys. Trust me. I saw it in the theater when it first came out. I love it as well. But it's an old 80s movie that doesn't need a TV series. Sorry, Rob Thomas. Doesn't need to happen. Focus on the show that you're working on that's ending and then go to the next show. That's all you need to do. Man. So, with that said, tomorrow is going to be the last episode of Swamp Thing as well. So, I'm not looking forward to that being the last episode. It's so good. And in contrast to what we've been getting with iZombie. And yeah, it was kind of a cliffhanger, Joker. It's not even a cliffhanger. It's just a lot of loose ends. A lot of loose ends that didn't need to be there. Yeah. But yeah, Swamp Thing is on Friday tomorrow. Saturday is going to be Saturday morning blast off in the morning and The Boys in the afternoon. Sunday is the premiere of Preacher. Monday is Legion. Wednesday is going to be Krypton. Krypton is back. Craptown, if you're Lobo. Thursday, I'm moving The Boys into the Thursday slot, and I haven't decided if anything's going to take place of Swamp Thing on Friday. I don't know if DC Universe is doing anything on Friday or not. I don't think they're doing anything. I know not until at least September with Titans. So, when will I have time for what, Mr. Roboto? For any other thing else than podcasting and work? I wonder how they close Swamp Thing since they've lost 3 episodes. Yeah, I'm wondering how they're going to do that too, Stanley. It's they do kind of have an ending point, if you will, but it's gonna be sloppy. It really is. When is Quinn? Joe Greer? I don't know who Quinn is. What are you talking about? Yeah, I need a clone in order to watch all this stuff, Mr. Roboto. Oh, Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is on October, if I remember correctly. Yes, it's on in October. So Titans is September 6th. Harley Quinn, I remember, is middle of October, if I remember correctly. So yeah. And yes, I will be covering that because it looks like it's going to be some fun. It might suck. Who knows? I mean, DC Universe, it's so far they've had 2 good series out of 3. We'll see what Titan season 2 is like. If, something has changed and maybe they've realized that Doom Patrol kind of really upped the ante on this, and so did Swamp Thing. And they need to get off their ass and actually write some more of that stuff. Yeah, more Hawk and Dove, definitely, Joe Career. Yeah, 2 out of 3 is pretty damn impressive, Penfar Girl. I have to admit, it is, No, we don't need more fuck Batman because that was just fucking lame. It really was. Just to say it, granted, I know where they're trying to go with it. They're trying to push Dick. They're trying to push more Dick to become Nightwing is what they're trying to do. That's what the whole burning of the suit was. The end of season 1 is he's supposed to, of course, morph into Nightwing at this point. I get it. I know where they're going with it, but they're being so heavy-handed about it, and the writing's atrocious. Yeah, I hesitated too, Pen. I really did. I didn't know if I wanted it or not, and then Doom Patrol just sold me, and now I keep going back. What is it? If I have like an extra 20 minutes or something like that, if I'm actually eating or something like that, and I want to put something on, I put on Batman Brave and the Bold. It's a good 20 minutes. And yes, they are pushing Dick into Nightwing, Stanley Tweedle. I'm glad you got that. Batman Brave and the Bold is just such a good show. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, go and watch it. It's so much fun. So much fun. And so the other stuff that's on there too. I mean, they have Batman Beyond on there. I think they're going to actually put, so when Batman Beyond gets the digital remaster for Blu-ray that they're doing, which I'm probably going to have to buy it because that is one of my favorite series. The I think they're actually going to show it on DC Universe, so that should be cool. Which one is fun? Stanley Tweedle, that's Batman Brave and the Bold. So Batman is actually voiced by Diedrich Bader. You probably remember him from Office Space. He was the next door neighbor, the guy with the mullet and the mustache who worked construction. He was also in the Drew Carey show as well. He was his best friend. Yeah, it's animated. It is animated, but it's so much fun. Especially Aquaman. Aquaman with the outrageous. He always had a catchphrase. It was, outrageous. I mean, they have Dead Man in there, Gentleman Ghost. It was awesome. I actually saw him. I saw Diedrich on the floor of Comic-Con one year. I believe it was the year after Batman Brave and the Bold ended, and I was able to tap him on the back and tell him such a good job that he did, that it was kind of cool to actually get to meet him and tell him how much I appreciated him doing that, because he did a great job. People were pissed off because they said, "Oh, it's a kids show and all that stuff." Yeah, it was a kids show. They alternate back and forth. The animated Batman stuff goes from gritty to kids show, because who is buying the toys? Yeah, sure, the adults are buying the toys for their kids, but the kids are the ones that want the toys. And all I'm going to say is this: Batman Brave and the Bold has Batmite in it, voiced by Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman himself. Not in one episode, but multiple episodes. And breaks the fourth wall, always talking to the audience. Some great stuff, especially the very last episode. The last episode I watched again, because it also has Impossible Man, or not Impossible Man, excuse me, Ambush Bug in it, voiced by Henry Winkler. Yeah. Batman Brave and the Bold is 10 years old. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Did I watch Beware of the Batman? You mean the Batman? Yeah, I watched the Batman. I wasn't too much of a fan of that one. That was just kind of boring. It really was. Slurmy Scott, I did try Another Life. It looks like they took a soap opera writer and added science fiction. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Oh, you saw the one with Katana? Nice. Oh yeah, the in the Batman. It's been a while since I only watched it when it was on TV, and I never watched it ever again because it wasn't my favorite version of Batman. So I never felt the need. I know it's on the DC Universe. They have it on there. I might take a look at an episode or two just to remind myself of why I didn't want to go back and watch it. Yeah. So we all actually are talking about DC related stuff on iZombie. iZombie was DC Comics beforehand. It was a Vertigo comic, is really what it was. And so we all are in the same vein of where this comic came from, or where the show came from. I'm a millennial. I don't watch old stuff. So prehistoric. Oh my God, it's just so primitive. I just went 80s Valley Girl there for you. Oh my God. Okay, Dennis, how about a binge watch of iZombie, then a series review for no. Not gonna do it, Mr. About. I don't have time for that. Sorry. Yeah, there's so much other stuff that's coming out right now that there's no way in hell I could do that. Yeah. This was your last CWDC show, Stanley Tweedle. You're not gonna stick it out for Batwoman? Yeah, I don't even know if I'm sticking it out for Batwoman, to tell you the truth, man. I don't know, man. I dropped Black Lightning because I couldn't watch it anymore. It just was starting to get, yeah. I liked the characters, I liked the actors and all that stuff. It's just for some reason the material was just not coming together. Yeah, I agree with you, Joe Greer. The Boys is definitely some good rewatch. I've already seen. Well, I saw the first episode twice, of course. Actually, now I've seen the first episode. Yeah, I've seen the first episode twice. I will be seeing the second episode, of course, twice, and the third episode twice, and so on and so forth. Yes, I know Black Lightning's getting another season. So, Mr. Roboto, the CW is pretty much bringing back all the DC characters, DC Universe shows, I should say, except for iZombie. Arrow's on its last season. Don't be surprised if you hear that Legends of Tomorrow is going to be dropped at some point, and Flash as well. And that's why you have Batwoman coming out, being introduced, and Black Lightning. And right now they have Black Lightning on a truncated schedule, kind of like Legends of Tomorrow. So they might actually step up and expand those episodes out. Yeah. Yeah, it's an old plot, Mr. Roboto. They've used that plot for so long, and it's nothing new. If you go back and watch Static Shock is actually where that whole storyline comes from, and that was McDuffie who did that one. Yeah. So it's nothing new, quite honestly. Yeah, it is pretty gruesome compared to the Amazon show. Yeah, the comic is really, really graphic. So one thing I actually read from Eric Kripke, he was in an interview. He said there was only one scene that Amazon had him cut, and it was of Homelander standing on the roof of the, I believe it was the Empire State Building, after Stillwell kind of rebuffed him, and he is standing on the roof of the Empire State Building with his pants down, masturbating all over New York City. Is basically what this is, saying that he could do whatever he wants. And yeah, that was the one thing that they said that they could not show. Chrysler Building, yeah, Chrysler Building, Empire State Building. It's the same building, Joe. Yeah, exactly. So again, if you've joined me and you made it this long through all the ranting and all that kind of stuff, if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Also, if you want to follow me and see when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell down below. If you've already hit the bell, don't hit it again. It will unclick it. You can go into the bell settings and get as many or as little notifications as you want. You can also see my schedule up on suspendedfanimation.com. I also have that schedule mirrored on my Facebook page for Suspended Fanimation. I have a Twitter. I have an Instagram. I have a Patreon as well. The Patreon doesn't have tiers at the moment. I will be working on that whenever I find some spare time in order to do everything else. Also, if you comment down below in the comment section, and there's only one entry per person, you get entered to win this Comic-Con bag. There you go, from this year's Comic-Con. So you got 1 week to enter. You've got until the 8th, right, to do that. So starting today, which is August 1st, to August 8th. August 8th, I will draw names. Excuse me, draw a name, I should say. And whoever wins gets that prize. Yes. I had to actually take a look at the calendar and make sure that was actually the 8th, that next Thursday, because my brain is all kinds of, yeah. And of course, you need to send me your address so I can send it out to you. Stanley tweeted, why that doesn't sound too bad. Why cut that? They maybe thought it was too much. I can understand. I can understand why they didn't want to go too far on it. Yes. So this is only going to be open. I should say that. Thank you, by the way, for Stanley for saying that. This is only open, this contest, to people in the United States. Unfortunately, I can't ship out internationally. It just will kill me price wise. So, US only on that one. Yeah. With that said, I'm going to let you guys go for the evening. Thank you, everybody who joined me tonight in the chat. Thank you if you made it this far through the video. And I will see you tomorrow for Swamp Thing. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. And I will see you tomorrow. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, because otherwise you may end up having your showrunner not paying any attention to the show that he started because he's trying to start another crappy show that isn't going to go anywhere, really. Thanks, everyone. Good night.